Hey everybody, welcome to the nightly vid. As you can hear, I'm still getting over this cold, but we're feeling good. So going into the new week, you're gonna see we have all the setups: two twos, X1, and then mention of simultaneous breaks and three twos. So with the indexes, as we said with the Momo Hammer week here, yep, up they go. Sideways 2 week pattern breaks here, and then for 2 weeks they rally. So did what it was supposed to. Now the question just is, are these buyers gonna keep this up here or not? Weekly try, now it's gonna look like that. Qs. Same thing. Your weekly try now looks like this. So next week, does that expand or do they start chopping around? Dow Jones, your weekly try now looks like this. IBM, notice still an inside month. So all of the rest of the markets has reversed. This one has not. So still some weakness in IBM as far as we know, inside quarter. If we take a look at the lists going into the new week, we will have energies, the 132 Rev Strat. So this is where we're going to have the most evidence of signals. For the 3-2, boom, back through previous range. Looking to take those guys, 97.06, potentially 98.97, put the 3-2 quarterback in force, just like the utilities did. And then also, you still have the year in force. So you have one yearly signal and an additional signal on the weekly. So two signals in force, giving you evidence above 95.11 of an aggressive buyer. That's something we want to know about. XOP, the Rev Strat, 1, 2, 2 above this, around 153.09. Again, evidence of an aggressive buyer taking the year up above 54.66. So once it hits its first target, you may retrigger the yearly guys. And 2 going 3 month, just like XLE. OIH, actually relative strength. So last time we noted on the way up, it was relatively slightly weaker. Now, it still hasn't taken these highs out, which is still something we're looking for. We've just had retracement, or they stopped some people out. If you go and take a look at the quarter, it hasn't reversed. It's still a 1-2-2 quarter, right? So continuity wise, not so much, but what we can pick up on is the fact it went 2 up week, giving you relative strength in the OIH. Since everything else did take out last week's lows last week, this did not. So the way you look at this is your try. Slight higher highs to that, slight lower lows to this. Similar to the last energy trade. This is your try. You get out of that, good things happen. And if you don't know what we're talking about, what you want to do is you want to go back and watch the video that we talked about here at the beginning of March, right at the beginning. We're talking about it. And you can see what we said, you can see what happened, and now, again, same exact thing. So that tells us to look at specifically, we'll want to have the big ones like Oxy, we can have up there. Not quite as strong, but back into this 3 on the week would be something good to know about. MPC, we do have the inside week this week, notice, breaks down, made, $300 to like 1,200, or actually like 257 or something to 1,300, but who's counting? And then you had the inside bar reversal here on 516, negating that after exhaustion risk, taking the weekly magnitude. So above this, we'd want to see this, 201. So what you can do is take a look at MPC and say, well, okay, if we do that within the next couple weeks, go to like next month, June 7th, if I buy the 180 calls at 415 and it goes to 200, those are going to be worth 2,000. So yeah, sign me up, right? And then the 185s, even better. They'd go to 1,500 and they're trading 2. So that's something I want to know about. What you can also do is you can take a look here. And it looks like I forgot this one, so I'll just put it up here. MPC, June 7, 180 call. So that could very easily be a 4X. If we go to LNG, it's a little bit crazy in here, yes, but did break the month up this month, so that changes what we know. And then you can see the triangle out. 3 pokes down, back into the 3. They're trying to go up there, 163. So if they do that, what can we do? Well, LNG actually has pretty cheap options. So the 165s are $1. If we go closer in strike, like weeklies or something, you might be able to grab like the 160 at the monies, and those could go to 3. They're at 2, so not quite as good of a deal there, but it is going sideways. So if it works and it goes up here and really gets going, if you grab like a 165 or something, taking the month up, pivot machine gun, you could get a hold of a pretty good one there if the energies all break again. If we go to PSX, another great one here. Look at this. The 1 poked down, still mother bar to this. So what do you look for? Broad information. Comes back in. Now we have a 3 on the month, so we're back into the 3. 2-2 week, we get that going back through these guys. Mother bar highs, 152.19. You got to get out of that. And if we could do that, That'd be a good thing. You can also take a look there. The 150 call for June 21st turned around 3. So if it does do this up into 152.19, it'll be around break even at expiration. But if it keeps going, then you make a lot more. We can also go to like XOM. Relatively strong this week, going inside and up. Not weak enough to take last week's lows. So that's something we can definitely take note of. On the way up, it should be relatively stronger, and it should take these guys out, 123.82. If we go to CVX, another one that we normally trade, it went 3 this week, so it could become a 3-2, but a little bit weaker. You can see it's closing much redder than the rest. But like PXD, not really doing too much in there. Inside month, still relative strength, not taking last month's lows. So all the inside months next month, in about 10 days, these are the things we'll go after next month in the energies should things get going again. And so we'll keep an eye on just, a few of those names there. COP is the only other one, which I don't believe I mentioned here. Above 122.56, maybe you can get the rev strat week potentially into the 130 guys, and that would negate the month, get it nice and green again, get the 3-2 quarter going again. And that'd be the 125 call for June 21 at $1.05, $1.07. And this is just a suggestion. You can go further out. Like if you're like, I'm going to hold this until end of the year, energy signal's done. Yeah, go grab next year's contracts when this breaks if you'd like. But what I like to do is grab this stuff. If it works really good, then throw a little profit into the end of your contracts and let it run. So we'll see. But energies are all still due 2 down month. They're green. And they could have this simultaneous weekly break, which would change what we know. So we're going to keep an eye for that. If it doesn't happen, then there is no energy recovery. Last thing we could look for is this. USO. The 3 hammer. That would change what's happening, re-trigger the inside quarter break. Above 178.94, that could happen. Or 78.94, my bad. And here's your daily try. Get out of that and good things happen. Crude oil. You'll see this. Closer to a 2-2 reversal week. And what could that negate critter do? Could change the month. And it could create another enforced pattern on the quarter, which still has a couple months left. So here's your try. Inside day up to start on Monday. So get out of this try of this stuff, around 80, good things can happen. And that covers the energies. The other thing we see is the materials. XLB. So this week didn't really do too much in there, but go to gold. Look at gold this week. Crazy stuff. 2-2 on the 2-week time frame after a 3-2-week reversal. If you go to silver. Crazy stuff. Notice it takes this high out, so much stronger than gold. This is great gapper trading on Friday. If you saw my Twitter, you saw exactly what was going on. Here's your sideways 30. These two 15s inside of that. Right here, get long. Momo 15 into a sideways 30. And then here's your triangle out. You can see we have it drawn still from Friday. The 2 down, 2 up. We tried that, didn't work. Inside 15 here, get long. Triggers the 30 here, add. Keeping your stop around here, slightly around your break even, right? We had no reason to believe this stuff wouldn't work. Then 2 going through 15, good. Inside 15, add even more, measured move. And you can see, boom, up, sideways for a little bit, boom, up again. And then into the close, the 2-2 add, inside bar add. And then look at after hours, still good. So this is something we look for. Why do we look for that? Because what we talked about going into the new quarter was this on the year. Boom, inside silver. That's something we want to know about. Gold. Also, the 1-3-1-2 on the year, now going to be a 2-up month come Monday open, hopefully. So we'll go into short-term exhaustion, but these buyers are aggressive, so we're going to stick around. That's also going to be things from the quarterly macro vid, WPM. Notice, not a single lower low on the week. That's what it still good looks like. You had the inside week add here and here as well if you're a weekly guy. You'll see on the year, or on the quarter, I mean. What do we talk about in the quarter vid? The 3-1-2 quarter. What do we also talk about? The inside month up to make that happen. So when that occurred, you had 2 signals in force. And now they're reconfirming that the second month. So for the macro guys, you're all good. If we go to things like RGLD, little late to the party. Last month they went 2 up, but now this month 3-2. So you still got 147.82 to go after. Just no weekly signals. So we're going to look for the day, week, or not week. We're going to look for the day 60-30 signals on gold, silver, that type of stuff next week. There's also going to be NEM, which did do a sideways 2-week pattern and up. Just hasn't gone anywhere yet, but it did a 2-week break. So above this, that break's still occurring, 43.96. And notice, clear this all out, blow it up a little bit, zoom out a little bit. Here's slight triangle out. Used to be a lot higher. So if this 2-2 quarter works, you're going up there. We're obviously going to target this stuff first, but you always want to think, what's the next thing going to happen? We go to the year. If If this works, 60. And if that works, back into this 3, 85. We know the US dollar is worth literally nothing. So that's something good to know about. If we keep going, make sure I'm not missing anything there. In the materials, you also have veil. So 2 down here, yes, but reclaiming. So whenever a signal is not enforced like this, it's not enforced, right? Here's your reclaim of the monthly range, 2 month. What do we look for? Additional signals. A 3-2 expando on the week could give additional signals for us. So daily and weekly short-term exhaustion, but you got the month enforced. So we'll see 3-2s if that can get going again. If we go to NTR, I believe this is also materials. Forgive me if it's not, but here, the 2-1-2 measured move week above that. What's happening on the year? 2 going 3. What's happening on the month? 2 up. It's going into new highs, so we'll be aware of that. But if you go on the quarter, 2-2 quarter back into previous mother bar quarter. So that's something I want to know about. Inside week up above that, 58.42. And if we look at NTR, 60 calls up into here, 75 cents for next month, end of next month. So if that works really good, the quarter could get greener the rest of the quarter. Magnitude 62.53, 69.12, 75.29. So you can get some crazy stuff in there. We'll also see then, let's see, on the 2-2 week list, a little bit of miscellaneous stuff. AAOI, this would be a 2-2 reversal week, still red quarter. You have the inside day to trigger the week, so on Monday you could have 2 additional signals there. Go on the month. 2 going 3 month, maybe they get back into this 3. So we'll see. You got to reclaim 12.14, which the weekly signal would do. And the options are cheap there. 12.5s next month, 85 by 9. FSLR, 2-2 weeks, would confirm. Quarterly Momo Hammer for the macro guys, weekly into quarterly. Hog, it's more of a consumer discretionary type name. 3-2-2 shooter week for the downside. If we have any downside, this is where we want to be. Taking last quarter's lows. Still an inside month, so be aware of that. But here's your try. Got big enough where we can go and trade that. So below 34.71. Hog, June 21.34 puts 0.6. The reason we look at that is because if it works, these will be $1.25 in the money, and you'll have the rest of the month. And if it wants to keep going below 32.6 with the quarter in force, down into these guys, you got enough time. Upstart in the financials, 3.22 below this, similar to Hog, 24.88. Puts there pretty cheap. 25 put for the weeklies next week, 72 cents. So even if this only goes to, let's say 22 just doesn't fully get there, 23 doesn't fully get there, those would still double at 23 with just intrinsic. So they'd be worth maybe, if it happens on Monday or Tuesday, they could be worth $2.60. If you go to Macy's, consumer discretionary, 2-2 week below this, 19.3. Still a little bit choppy on the month here, but there's a 3 here. You got the Rev Strat day for Monday. So this is the only reason I'd be looking at it, because you got the day into the week. Could confirm the 2 down week, but still inside here. And we also have some other consumer discretionary stuff we see. Wayfair, consumer discretionary, similarly, here's your try. Slight poke lower to this, slight poke higher to that. Back in, 2-2 week below this, 66.88. And Wayfair next week, 63 put, which is a little bit out there. You could go even closer to the money if you're willing to. 136 by 149. And let me double check that. And that's June. So yeah, that's June 7th. So a little further out in the date range. If you go closer, you could get a cheaper one, or you could even grab the 65s, a train 2. Just be aware that at magnitude here, 65s would be intrinsically worth the same as what you paid for it. So it's got to go further than that. So just got to be careful of that. If we go to VZ, Verizon, you got a little bit of a rev strat, 1.122 below this. Really cheap options there for the small account guys, 62 by 65. Still an inside month, but when we're inside month, we can expect stuff like this, where if this week works, maybe it takes the month down, maybe it doesn't, but what we'd look for is the low of the inside month. Because when you go inside, what you're doing is you go inside here, right? Stuck, chop, chop, chop. They poke up, they poke down. Now the try is bigger. Because there's a 3 here before, then it got bigger, boom. Then you can take it up again. boom, slight lower low, slight higher high to this stuff. Now the try is even bigger. So now you can take it down again. And then once that happens, if it works, we take these guys out, who's to say we can't keep going? If we go to the ones that we missed here, we'll see Cisco also with Verizon in the communication services type stuff. Gap or sell. So you can see the gap up sell on the day, and then they stayed outside and kept going. Continuation. Now shooter 122 week with Verizon. And what would that create negator do? Inside month or inside quarter down to 46.2. So if you take a look at the Cisco M24, which is going to be this upcoming week, 47.5s are pretty cheap. You could go further out. It's very, very cheap. These are 13 by 15. So if this works, 47.5s, they'd be worth, just under 90 cents at intrinsic. So like that could be a 10x if this really gets going. And it has a Momo shoot day for Monday. So something we want to know about. You could have the shooter day, week, and quarter all in force come next week on Monday. We did miss in materials IP. Another momentum type setup. Week confirms month. And then you would take the quarter 2 up. And if we go to the year, it would take the year 2 up. So we'll see if IP wants to get going. This one just loves to move. So you can see the 3, poke up, poke down, and then maybe this expands the 3 and gets really big. So you got this mother bar day you want to get out of, but that's what the inside week looks like on the lower time frame. BYON. I believe this is another consumer discretionary type name here. Inside week, momentum measured move of this move, so it could be going a lot lower. All these lows down here are around 4, 2.5. But really the only reason it's on the list is this. If this week works and we can take out like 1371, what you'll see is the 17.5s are trading $1. So 17.5 trading $1 right here. Maybe they're $1.20 when you buy it. They'd be worth $2 down here, so double. And then if it goes even further, they'd be like a 3, 4x. So that's something I want to know about, just because the options are cheap. Outside of that, I don't got too much, but as far as broader analysis goes, materials up, energy's up, silver and gold up, China names up, Baba, really great one. So we had it on the gapper list, and in strat alerts, we were like, hey, these Chiners look great for a 2-2 tomorrow. And I want to show you guys that. Just so you guys see. Look at this. All setting up very nice and tomorrow for the 2-2. So that's something we wanted to know about, because what? Triangle out. These 2 days go outside of these days here. So you get the very slight lower low on the gap down, kicking pattern sell. And then in the afternoon, you get the country western from exhaustion back up, and then sets up the hammer for the 2-2 here, get long. And where's it going? Up there, 85. If that works, what's happening? The month is still a rev strat, pivot machine gun, up to 105. And then the year is a potential rev strat up to 121. So it still has ways to go. And like we said before with the China, they're rallying, and it's like, you missed it. It's like, no. Wait for the slight lower low and then get in. It happened here, slight lower lows and then up. And here, slight lower lows and then take off. So really cool stuff there. We go to Baidu. Nice little gapper down and buy 331 into next week to trigger a hammer week. So we'll see if Baidu wants to do it. It's similar. It would be off the bottom of this big old try, which if you follow me on Twitter for a couple of years now, we pointed out the top of that one on Twitter. So that was a cool one. But we'll see, it's not quite as strong. You also have things like Billy, which are kind of getting up there, back to previous range. They could go a little bit higher. No actionable signals though. And then like PDD, which has hit its monthly magnitude after the mention from premium guys with the 2-2 gappers in here to get long. And if we go to things like JD is also, still 2 and away on the week. So all the China is still something we'll want to know about. And if we go to Uber and Lyft, you might have a simultaneous break there inside weeks. So didn't make the list there with the options, but potentially they move. Memes like GameStop down 2-2 day. Did we know about that? We did. AMC 2-2 day. Did we know about that one too? We did. Shooter weeks and all that. Beyond Shooter week. Sun Power Shooter week. LMND, I think, probably. Shooter week. A little bit stronger. RKT. Shooter week back to the previous range. So, right there, under around 13.5. And if that works, it goes to 11. So you can go look at next month's. If that's going from here around 13.5 to 11, 13.5 puts are trading 40 cents for next month, beginning of next month. Maybe go even further out. End of next month, the 28th of June. 14 puts trading 90. So if it's going down there, they're worth 3. So very simple analysis. We'll just see if the memes keep coming down. And then consumer discretionary is just XLY. Double inside week. So notice they haven't participated in the rally. So should things come back in, consumer discretionaries are relatively weak. Doji on the year with barely any monthly continuity, which means the consumer, as far as the market's aware are concerned, they still think the consumer's weak, even though you have good CPI numbers and they're hitting targets and whatnot. Market doesn't really trust it. So that is going to be about it from me. And as always, if we look at the indexes, they're grinding into new all-time highs. So when that's happening, you don't get as good price action like we had. Yeah, daily range is kind of small, but you got pretty good like overall moves. 2 days in this stuff, moves $12, couple percent, fine, right? If you got the Mobile Hammer weeks from a couple weeks ago, fine. 3.7, that's perfectly good, right? So that all being said, though, these will be more grindy. So should we see like lack of action, we're going to stick to the gaps because earnings, that's where we're going to have the really nice moves like we've already seen with like Baba and a lot of other names like Cisco and all that mess. So we'll just stick to what we know and hopefully you guys have a good rest of your trading week. Last thing I'd like to add, actually, we do have an announcement coming. I know we've been talking about this a while, but we're like 99.9% of the way there. We should have it out Monday. I don't want to make any promises here, but expect it very, very soon. We're going to have a lot of cool things coming. So make sure you follow the channel, have the notifications on. And if you don't follow Stat Trading on Twitter, stat_trading, make sure to follow them. So I'll see you guys then, and adios.